Hey guys, so I'm just going to do a little introduction because this is a part 2 to the gross things that I see as a piercer. I just had so much to say in the video that it went for so damn long that I had to cut it into 2 parts. So this is part 2 and I'm basically just continuing on, and that's why I will look different in the next part, because I will obviously be from the previous video. It's just cut into that. I feel like the things that I'm telling you will be really good to know if you are thinking of becoming a piercer, or you just want to know what our POV is, like what we witness on a day-to-day basis. It's not a glamorous job in any way. A lot of what we do is cleaning, and a lot of what we do, we see some yucky and stinky things. You get over it, like it's not yucky to me anymore because it's just like, okay, whatever. I never really thought things were that yucky because like I kind of like some gross shit anyway. I just thought it would give you a really good insight into our view and what we see all the time. Wax is a big one. I would love to be a earwax cleaner. I personally would love to do that because I think it's very satisfying and I love a good clean out of the ear. So that personally would be something I would adore. I love watching the videos of like wax getting like pulled from deep within the ear canal, like, oh, me fave. So it doesn't gross me out. It's just like sometimes you're like, damn, what? When was the last time you cleaned those things? I'm like, don't you just want to? Don't you just want to clean them? Because it's so satisfying. You look at it and you're like, fuck yeah. That's all I want to say to them. I'm not grossed out. I'm just like, why don't you want to clean it? It's so fun and so like, it's such an enjoyable time. That's my only question to these people, isn't why haven't you cleaned your ears? It's like, why do you not want to? Another one that when it first happened to me, I thought it was pretty gross. I don't know why this one seemed to be the grossest, because out of all the things you deal with, this certainly isn't the grossest thing, but I found it yuck. I'll tell you why I found it yuck. So basically some piercings are still open. Sometimes when you're putting in jewelry for people and they say that it's still open, some people you can look at it and you're like, I really don't think that's open. I'll have a go. And you can tell pretty quickly if the piercing like is still open, that you can still put jewelry into it. And then other times it's just not. But a point that I would like to make is that you should never like force jewelry through where you're essentially re-piercing it. That's not what we would ever do as a piercer. You can put a little bit of force on it. It's hard to explain, but like you do learn this as a piercer when is too much force, like when you are now like basically shoving jewelry through it to re-pierce it. That is not what we do, but sometimes piercings are still open and you can tell when they are because it's a lot easier to get them through. However, sometimes when a piercing is still open, you know, someone's had it for a long time, but they've taken it out for a little while and they want some jewelry put back in it, you will find that when you're pushing the jewelry through, little wormies. I wish I had a video to show you because it's kind of hilarious, kind of gross, very stinky. Little wormies, and they just go all over, like they're like, they just go like kind of like those men that do this in like selling stuff on the side of the road.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
They just go all over the place. As you're pushing the jewelry through, it's literally just like these worms, and it's like body worms, and they look like worms, and that's why it's gross. And they can stink. Like, that sounds so sick, but it is pretty sick. Somehow this could be some of the smelliest things that you have to smell. Granted, there are some very smelly other things. Sometimes this can just stink, and it's because it's like dead skin and just build up that has like filled the hole, and it's now being pushed out, and it's been sitting in there for who knows how long, and it's like releasing its odors into the atmosphere, and you're standing over it while it like just wafts into your face, and it is pretty disgusting. But the worms are hilarious and they're pretty gross. I think like real worms are gross, so like when I see it coming out of a person, it's pretty disgusting. Another thing that can be quite yucky is the saliva and the snot that we have to deal with. These two particular fluids are very common and you see them every damn day, but sometimes there's just a little more excess. Some people have more than other people. When I'm talking saliva, I'm talking the gross things that can happen with saliva are that it can drip down your arms. And this is more so in a situation where things haven't gone right, or it's taking like extra long to do something, or someone isn't really cooperating, they're moving around a lot, and they just happen to produce a lot of saliva. That's more so the situation of this. Like it rarely happens. I definitely think it was something that happened more towards the beginning because I was still learning and doing things a lot slower. And when you're doing things slower and you're not like cleaning yourself up and cleaning them up constantly, these things can happen. Most commonly seen though in a tongue piercing, when, yeah, it's just taking a little longer. This person happens to slobber a little bit more than others. Generally, you salivate more when this is happening anyway, because your mouth's like, what is going on? Obviously, we're wearing gloves, and normally saliva all over the gloves is just a common everyday activity for us. But when things can get a little more slobbery, I've definitely had it run down the old wristy boys, down. I can't recall exactly how far it's run down my arms, but I'm fairly sure it's run down, maybe to the elbow even. That's pretty yucky, because I want to take a shower and bleach after that, because I don't know this person. I don't necessarily want to be covered in your yucky mouth juice, but it's just a part of the game, and I've been covered in a lot worse things. Oh my gosh, that makes me remind me of something else as well, is that septum piercings can be prone to sneezing. It's a big sneezer bringer. Sometimes you just can't get away quick enough and someone will blow all over you. I understand how that sounds. They will blow their snot all over you. And I have been sneezed all over many a time. And there's just something about sneezing that like it can stink sometimes. Like, I don't know if you've ever realized that, but if someone sneezed on you, some people's sneeze can really reek. And I don't know why this is a thing, but some people got stinky sneeze. Not everyone will sneeze when they get their septum pierced. Let me know if you sneezed when you got your septum pierced. Not everyone will do it, but some people do, and it just covers you and it's stinky. But most of the time I'm like, I can see it like building within them, and I'm like, she's gonna blow. Let's get out of here. Normally I've got it covered. Snot comes in many shapes, forms, colors. You see hard ones, you see soft ones, you see brown ones, you see yellow ones, you see green ones, you see all the colors of the rainbow when it comes to the snozzle. So basically, if you don't know what a dermal is, this is what it is. It's a dermal anchor. So basically you use a skin biopsy punch, and that looks like this. Biopsy punches are used for so many different things, especially in the medical field. However, we also use them for dermals. Now, not everyone uses them, but they're definitely a huge thing in Australia that people use to make dermals. Do dermals make them? Same bloody thing. And what you do with that is you're essentially like, you're scooping out like skin and a little bit of flesh, I suppose would be the best way to put it. And in doing that, when you're pulling the punch out of the skin, what comes with it is a little wormy. Biopsy punches are obviously used for many different things inside the medical field as well. So there are potentially quite a lot of you out there who have used one before, and you will know what I'm talking about when I talk about a little skin wormy. It's basically like this little worm thing that comes out of the dermal punch. If it hasn't been done properly, that little piece of wormy, skinny flesh will stay attached, and basically there'll be a circle where the biopsy punch has made its incision. And if it hasn't come off properly, you sort of have to like pull that bit out, and that's kind of gross because you're like yanking on someone's like flesh, I suppose. In general, dermals at first, when you do them, I guess they're a little gross because they're a lot more, I guess you see a lot more. It's not super deep or anything though, so it's not like you're seeing like deep inside someone's body, but you're definitely seeing like a bit more of the fleshy part, whereas when you're doing piercings, you don't see any of that stuff. It's certainly experience. And then you have that little wormy boy. So our little friend the worm is a little bit yucky when you first see him, but you really get used to it because the more you do of them, you're just like, this is just a part of it and it doesn't really matter. But like, that little wormy is definitely gross at first. I remember it took me a few to be like, okay, I'm seeing like your flesh now. It's not just seeing like someone's skin and piercing through it. It's like another level where you've taken me into seeing inside of you just that little bit more. I hope you enjoyed this video. I assure you I have so many of these to spew out all over you, and if you would like more, please let me know, because I'm just filled with yucky things. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like down below and I will be back very soon. Bye.